Yeah. Immortal Technique. El DJ Green Lantern. Third world motherfucker. Yeah. I'm from where the golden diamonds are ripped from the earth, right next to the slave castles where the water is cursed. From where police brutality's not half as nice. It makes the hood in America look like paradise, compared to the AIDS-infested Caribbean slum. African streets with a passport's an American gun. From where they massacre people and try to keep it quiet, and spend the next 25 years trying to deny it. I'm from where they cut your hands off if you make a fist, and niggas throw coca cause the job market doesn't exist. Except slave labor, modern day company store, and peacekeepers don't ever come here no more. From where the bombs that they used to drop on Vietnam still has children born deformed 8 months before they gone. I'm from where they lost the true meaning of the Quran, cause heroin is not compatible with Islam, and niggas know that but grow that poppy seed anyway, cause that food drop parachute does not come every day. I'm from where people pray to the gods of their conquerors, and practically every president's a money launderer. From where the only place democracy's acceptable is if America's candidate is electable, and they might even have a black president, but he's useless cause he does not control the economy. Stupid. Lock and load your gun. Where I'm from, the third world, son. In many places, but I'm third world born. Gorillas hit and run. Where I'm from, the third world, son. You polluted everything and now the third world's gone. The water's poison. Where I'm from, the third world, son. 700 children died by the end of the song. Revolution to come. Where I'm from, the third world, son. Constant occupation leaves the third world torn. I'm from where the Catholic Church is some racist shit. They help Europe and America rape this bitch. They pray to white Spanish Jesus, whose face is this? But never talk about the black Pope Galatius. I'm from where Soviet weapons still decide elections. Militaries like the mafia, you pay for protection. Catamite sex tours is what the country sells, and rich white businessmen make the best clientele. I'm from where they too pussy to come film Survivor, and they murder Coca-Cola union organizers. I'm from where the justice system está podrido. Fuck government, niggas politic over perico. Rebelde conocido, enterrado vivo, como otro argentino desaparecido. Cause RICO laws don't apply to the CIA, and motherfuckers make sneakers for a quarter a day. I'm from where they overthrow democratic leaders, not for the people but for the Wall Street Journal readers. From where blacks, indigenous peoples and Asians were once slaves of the Caucasians, and it's amazing how they trained them to be racist against themselves in the place they was raised in. You kept us caged in, destroyed our culture and said that you civilized us. Raped our women, and when we were born you despised us. Gentrified us, agent provocateur dividers, and crucified every revolutionary messiah. So I'ma start a global riot that not even your fake anti-communist dictators can keep quiet. Fuck your charity medicine trying to murder me. The immunizations you gave us were full of mercury. So now I see the third world like the rap game soldier. Nationalize the industry and take it over. Lock and load your gun. Where I'm from, the third world, son. In many places, but I'm third world born. Gorillas hit and run. Where I'm from, the third world, son. You polluted everything and now the third world's gone. The water's poison. Where I'm from, the third world, son. 700 children died by the end of the song. Revolution to come. Where I'm from, the third world, son. Constant occupation leaves the third world torn. Yeah. Concrete jump.
Peace and blessings, brothers and sisters out there. Another day. This is a continuation of our forbidden history. Facts that you can actually find and research yourselves. It's out there. Easy access. But you gotta spend time, research and read. We're gonna continue on our part 3 of this forbidden history, and the history of the Zionists and, Khazarian satanic sun cultists are. So, again, to our notes. So, where we kind of left off last was that we know that the Antichrist the system of it, not the actual person. When they speak of an antichrist, it is a system, a godless system, satanic system. And this system, what it seems like, was started with the Mithric religion, or cult, I should say, which started in Iran, in Isfahan. And if you look at that area, there's a majority of a lot of Jewish people there. Again, I'm not talking about regular Jewish people here. I'm talking about the Zionists here. So, the Mithraite cult began from there, and it looked like it moved its way to the Roman Empire. And in the Roman Empire, you have the Phoenicians and you have the Venetians, which is the same thing. That cult spread, and it spread out toward to Europe, and then landed in England, and then from England it spread out to America. And now it's making its move to establish a state, a world power, which is going to, in their minds, they think they're going to be successful, but they're not. Establish the false state of Israel, which even my Jewish brothers and sisters can tell you that they are not allowed to, because of the commands of God and what Moses had told alayhi salam, peace and blessings be upon him, that they're not to settle and take any lands for themselves, but they can live amongst other people. More about that later. But now there is a particular family that I really not really talked about and mentioned much, that I'd like to share with you all. I've read some books on this, and my notes on here are not from me. These are actually notes from a different book that I read a long time ago. I look into that stuff, and I suggest you all to look into that stuff too. Don't believe what I say. Go research it yourselves, But what I'm sharing for you is I'm saving you time. So now, and before we start, if we can all please make a prayer for our Palestinian brothers and sisters out there who are being slaughtered, genocide, by a terrorist cult, sun cult, called Zionism. Okay? Palestine, I love you. Our hearts, prayers go out to the people of Palestine. He says the New Testament, the church and Christianity, were a creation of the Calpurnius Piso family, P-I-S-O, but it's pronounced P-E-S-O, Piso, who were Roman aristocrats. The New Testament and all the characters in it, okay, includes Jesus, all the Josephs, all the Marys, all the disciples, the apostles, the Paul, John the Baptist, and stuff, which this guy claims are fictional, but Jesus, John the Baptist, are not fictional, all right? These were actual historical figures. Their stories, their race was taken, manipulated, demonized. Jesus was turned white, and then Paul was praised, even though he was actually against the teachings of the actual historical Jesus. Peace and blessings be upon him and his mother. The Pisos created the story and the characters. They tied the story to a specific time and place in history, and they connected it with some peripheral actual people, such as the Herods, the Gamaliel, the Roman procurators, etc. So, the Pisos, were a bloodline family descended from the statesmen, councils, poets, and historians, and such people would definitely be initiates of the secret society network of the Roman Empire. Okay, now this is where the Antichrist has established his place in the Roman Empire, the Mithriac religion, right? Which is really Zionism. Because remember, these oligarchs, aristocrats, they change names to hide who they really are. They continuously will change names, new titles, everything. So a major stepping stone for the full bloodlines, the Aryan bloodlines, the crossbreeds to the present day. This is why a Roman soldier is the logo of that brotherhood operation, American Express. The Piso family, okay, and claim to descend from Calpus, Calpus. Again, I'm going to leave it all on the screen because I'm not pronouncing most of these words right. Who they said was the son of Numa Pompeius, the successor to Romulus, the founder of Rome. These were seriously connected people. Such Roman bloodlines are said to have come from Troy. And we are looking at a family that goes back to the Caucasus near the Near East. After the destruction of Troy around 1200 BC, the story goes that a guy called Aeneas of a royal bloodline went with the remnants of his people and settled in Italy. There he married into the royal family of the Latins, and through this bloodline later emerged the Roman Empire. According to many traditions, the grandson of Aeneas, a man called Brutus, landed in Britain around 1103 BC with a group of Trojans, including some from colonies in Spain, to become king of the Britons and found the city of New Troy, aka London, which is what it is today. Lucius Calpurnius Piso, the head of the family, was married to the great-granddaughter of Herod the Great. And remember, Herod was the one who cut the head off John the Baptist. And we'll get into that story later on too as well. Probably in a future video. According to Rockland's research, Piso, who used many pseudonyms, produced his Ur Marcus, the first version of the Gospel of Mark, in about 60 AD. One of the friends who encouraged him was the famous Roman writer Aeneas Seneca, but it seems that both of them were killed by the Roman Emperor Nero in the year 65. With this, the name Piso disappears from Roman history and doesn't reappear until 138 AD, when Piso's grandson Antonius became emperor. But from this point, the family are mostly known as the Antonines. Not the Pisos. So you see, they also changed their last names as well. They keep hiding who they really are. In the 73 years between the death of Father Piso and the emergence of Antoninus, the foundations for Christianity were written and proclaimed under assumed names. After the death of his father at the hands of Nero, Piso's son Arius, who used a number of names including Cestius Gallus, was made governor of Syria. This gave him command over the Roman army in Judea. He was involved in the Judean revolt in 66 AD, which Vespasian was sent to Judea to quell. So Emperor Nero was assassinated in 68 AD by an agent of Piso, according to Rockland. This certainly makes sense if Nero killed his father. With this, the Piso clan threw their power manipulation behind Vespasian, and he became emperor of Rome in 69 AD. A year later, the Romans destroyed Jerusalem, stole the temple treasures, including, it is claimed, the Ark of the Covenant, supposedly, and apparently took them back to Rome, where they entered a secret society underground. This underground was nothing less than the Babylonian Brotherhood, continuation of the Mithric sun cultus. So Rockland says that the Arius Calpurnius Piso then wrote 3 of the Gospels in the following order: the Gospel of Matthew, 70 to 75 AD, the updated Mark, 75 to 80, and with the help of the Roman writer and statesman Pliny the Younger, the updated Luke, 85 to 90. The Gospel of John, the work of Arius' son Justus, followed in 105. As Rockland says, Jesus was a composite figure, and the stories include elements of the tales of Joseph in Egypt and the other Old Testament characters, plus some Essene writings and characteristics of various pagan gods. This is precisely what the evidence have documented confirms. The several Josephs in their story are all the creation of Piso and part of the code. Now again, we're going to separate the historical Jesus and Joseph. So this is precisely what the evidence I've documented confirms. So the letters in the name of Piso translate in Hebrew as Yod, Vov, Samach, Fe, and they spell the name Yosef, or Joseph. Another code Piso used for himself in the stories is the number 60. Rockland points out that many similarities between Jesus' story and one of the Old Testament character, Joseph, which was Piso, used as a foundation. Joseph had 12 brothers. Jesus had 12 disciples. Joseph was sold for 20 pieces of silver. Jesus for 30 pieces of silver. Inflation, right? Brother Judah suggests that the sale of Joseph, or Judas sells Jesus. Joseph is in Egypt, where the firstborn are killed. Jesus and family flee to Egypt to avoid the slaying of male children. Piso family uses his 4 sons as the disciples. What is Piso's family sons' name? His 4 sons: John, Julius, James, Justus, Simon Peter, Proculus, and Alexander, Andrew. Julius, Justus, and Proculus would go on to write some later New Testament texts. Piso makes Jesus fulfill a number of Old Testament prophecies, particularly those of Isaiah. Rockland says that the Pisos made changes and additions to some Old Testament texts also, and wrote most of the 14 Old Testament books known as the Apocrypha. These included Esdras, 1 Maccabees, Judith, Tobit, Bel, and the Dragon, which I actually have a copy of it at home, the Apocrypha. It's an interesting set of work there. The Pisos were Stoics, hence Stoical. And the Stoics believed that people were motivated by and controllable through the use of fear and hope, which we're seeing today. Fear and fake hope. The very methods of the Babylonian Brotherhood cult. What better way of describing the religions which have been spawned by the Old and New Testaments, according to this author? Another manifestation of Arius Piso was Flavius Josephus, the writer I have quoted once or twice before, as he states, the reason that Piso, as Josephus and his granddaughter's husband Pliny the Younger, do not mention Jesus in their official writings is because at the time it simply would not have been credible to do so. It was only with the passage of time, as the true origin of Jesus was lost, that the stories became accepted as fact. 300 years after Prophet Isa, Prophet Jesus, alayhi salam, peace and blessings be upon him and his mother, Constantine the Great in 325 AD, in the Council of Nicaea, merged the Judaic faith and paganism together. So, the official story of Josephus is that he was Judean, descended from the Hasmonean royalty. He fought against the Romans, and although his friends committed suicide when the revolt went pear-shaped, he gave himself up and was spared. More than that, we are told that he was housed in Rome by the emperor for 30 years while he wrote books on Jewish history, and then married his granddaughter into the Roman aristocracy. Josephus was the Roman aristocrat Arius Calpurnius Piso, and together with his sons and Pliny the Younger, they wrote the Gospels and the rest of the New Testament, meaning rewrote it. And again, the dates are not accurate. Remember that. There is 1,000 years of history missing. Remember that. So, the official story of Josephus is that he was Judean, descended from the Hasmonean royalty. He fought against the Romans, and although his friends committed suicide when the revolt went pear-shaped, he gave himself up and was spared. More than that, we are told that he was housed in Rome by the emperor for 30 years while he wrote books on Jewish history, and then married his granddaughter into the Roman aristocracy. Josephus was the Roman aristocrat Arius Calpurnius Piso, and together with his sons and Pliny the Younger, They wrote the Gospels and the rest of the New Testament, meaning rewrote it. And again, the dates are not accurate. Remember that. There is 1,000 years of history missing. Remember that. Pliny wrote a number of epistles, letters under the name of Saint Ignatius. In this group, the same group under various names, were the early church fathers. And who was to turn this Roman invention into the vast prison religion it was to become? A Roman emperor in the same Babylonian brotherhood as the epistles, called Constantine the Great. So, now there's an author named Jeffrey Higgins, and he wrote an epic work called the Anacalypsis, Anaclypsis, shows how Rome was created as New Babylon. Now, that's something to, again, I encourage everyone to research on their own. Okay? You gotta understand who these people are. The world has been fooled for the longest time, and really, enough is enough. I think it's time that people start waking up. Now, from the Roman Empire, from Rome, they made their ways into Switzerland, Germany, Netherlands, New Troy, London, England, okay? And these were the Nimrod worshippers. So they traveled under the heading of the Phoenicians, and they settled in North Italy in 466 AD, okay, what is now Venice. These Phoenicians then became known as Venetians. They built a powerful maritime and financial empire which was based on lending people money that does not exist and charging them interest on it. Interest in the Bible, in the Quran, and even in the original Torah, is forbidden. It is an act of war against God. It is theft. Interest is theft. For you folks out there buying homes, buying cars, having credit cards with interest, they're literally making you wage war against your Creator, because it is a forbidden. Every prophet has forbidden it. It's been forbidden in the Bible. It's been forbidden in the Quran. It's been forbidden in the Torah. It's been forbidden. So that's another thing that you guys need to wake up from. Don't pay interest. Throw your credit cards away. You don't need that. Buying a home, there's other ways. This is another common theme of Babylonian Brotherhood of thousands of years, and today this financial scam controls the purse strings of the planet. When you go to a bank for a loan, the bank does not print a single new note or mint a single new coin. It simply types into your account the size of the loan, and from that moment you start to pay interest on what is nothing more than the figures on a screen. The bank has created money out of nothing and insists that you pay them for doing so. If anyone else did that, they would be arrested for fraud. But the banks do it every day quite legally. This system was employed in Babylon, and it has been expanded over thousands of years. It has rarely been challenged, because the Brotherhood, which devised this system, have also controlled the kings, queens, and leading politicians who have imposed it on the people. More than that, the Brotherhood are the kings, queens, and leading politicians. The money created in this way is known as fiat money, F-I-A-T. They would support a country when it is suited them, and then immediately seek to destroy it if that advanced their agenda. One of their common methods was to bankrupt any person, business, or country that opposed them, which is going on to this day. Coffee. Cheers. Bismillah. Yes, I love coffee. And I can go on and on and on, guys. And we will continue more about the history of these Phoenicians and Venetians to the Zionists that are here today. And this guy actually calls them the black nobility. As a result, from around 1171, they became known throughout Europe as the black nobility. Okay, once again, the Phoenicians became the aristocracy. They operated across northern Italy to Genoa and into an area that became known as Lombardy, going north into what is now Switzerland. Lombard is still a word widely used in the financial industry, and Lombard Street is one of the best known streets in the city of London financial center. Northern Italy, or Lombardy, was the region invaded around the 4th century BC by the Aryan Celts, called the Lombards, who brought an influx of Nordic blood from Germany. They were later observed by another Aryan people, the Franks, from where we get the name France. In short, there were different branches of the same white race with the Aryan Brotherhood, right? Or black nobility. Unknown to the rest of the population, invariably at the helm. As today, these puppets looked human, but they were controlled within by a very different force working a long-term agenda. And what he means by his very different force is that, and it's going to sound crazy, but it's not. You see, they use jinns, demons, to further their agenda. They take orders from a higher up. Satan, Lucifer, whatever you want to call them. It's the same garbage, different names. And most of these people you see on TV, you can call me crazy all you want, I don't care. Okay. Most of these people you see on TV, a lot of them are AI generated. A lot of them are wearing masks. And a lot of them are not who you think they are. A lot of people, celebrities, politicians, the ones you see in the media, they're all actors. They're all working on one agenda. When celebrity comes out and says, oh, I'm going to donate millions of dollars or hundreds of thousands of dollars to such a cause to help these people, help that, that's all lies, guys. None of your celebrities give a damn. They cannot speak because they don't want to lose their wealth and status. And they're probably feared for their life, but most of them have been raised into this cult. And I'm going to say something else too. I don't have proof for it. Not yet. Some of these celebrities were probably trafficked and raised into these cults from childhood. That's what they do. They love taking in children. They sex traffic children. Some of these children are taken as sex slaves, sold to these celebrities that you worship, that you pay for when you go watch their movies. And behind closed doors, they're molesting, raping children. And some of the other children from wars, remember, they create these wars, they create fires, right? Like what's happening now, what happened in Hawaii, what's happening now in Los Angeles, so they can build their smart cities now. They terraform everything, the earth. They take some of these kids. That's why you have a lot of missing children. When you have these natural, so-called natural disasters, there's nothing natural about it. HAARP, H-A-A-R-P. Okay, remember, for my Muslim brothers and sisters, it says Dajjal, the Antichrist, will have the power to control the weather. That's HAARP. It is true. They do manipulate the weather. That I can prove. Look up HAARP. Easy. And look at what's been happening. Open your eyes. Look what happened to Hawaii. There was a lot of children missing. Hades, there was a lot of children missing. Now Los Angeles, we're going to find out how many children will be end up missing there. They take these children. They traffic them. Some of them go into sex slavery. Some of them are put aside for occult rituals, satanic rituals, adrenochrome, because a lot of your celebrities like to buy this product. I'm not going to get into the details, but you can look up adrenochrome and how it's done. It is very, very despicable, disgusting what they do. And a very few of these kids are raised into these cults, and I think they look, because remember, they ask these demons, and these demons will tell them who they can pick and choose. These demons will tell them what they can pick and choose. That child has a black ward, that child has this, pick him, he will be a good help for our agenda in the future. And they either raise them as politicians or celebrities or world leaders or whatever they want to raise them at. All of your world leaders, hear me out. All of your world leaders, hear me out again. All of your world leaders, presidents, kings, queens, are all part of the agenda. They had their crusades. They were not successful. This is their last crusade that they're going to work their hardest to establish a one world power. Zionism. They want to establish a one world government, one world religion, well, not religion, cult, one world monetary system. Same ideas that Nimrod had. Remember, at Nimrod's time, people all spoke one language. And it was God, after destroying the Tower of Babel, that people separated to different tribes, groups, and languages. So this black nobility, these oligarchs, they're controlling and ruling the world right now and manipulating and fooling you to believing their lies. And you give your children away and have them die for them. They have a, like one of the brothers says, they have a PhD in deception. Cheers. Let's continue on. Switzerland is a major financial center for the people who are creating the wars, and so they ensure it is not involved. Switzerland is never involved in any war. You notice that? It's always the neutral. And like this author says, see how simple history becomes when you know the agenda. Now, the Venetians, for centuries, they expanded into the Far East with the journeys of another Venetian called Marco Polo, of whom there is far more to know than official history suggests. The surviving royal families in Europe are the bloodline of this black nobility, including Britain's House of Windsor. This is why these royal houses, including the Windsors, are rife with Satanism and fundamentally connected with Freemasonry and other elite secret societies. I will chart the history of the Windsors, their grotesque record of manipulation and their satanic activities. And he continues on. The black nobility established close relations with the bloodline families of Britain, and they were behind the invasion of 1066 by another branch of their family, the Normans of William the Conqueror and the St. Clairs, a family of Viking descent, right? Once again, the black nobility married into the British aristocratic families, awarded themselves titles, or invented them out of nothing. Two families were especially important in the black nobility takeover of Britain, the Savoys and the Estes. The Savoys, after which the famous London Hotel is named, ruled Italy from 1146 to 1945, and the Estes, E-S-T-E-S, ruled the region called Ferrara from 1100s until 1860, when Italy became one country. There are countless examples of how the black nobility infiltrated and took over Britain. Eleanor, the daughter of Peter, the 9th Count of Savoy, married the English King Henry III. Peter, Savoy, the black nobility count, was given large estates in England by Henry after he married his daughter, and this included the title of the Earl of Richmond. From this foothold, the black nobility count, now the Earl of Richmond, arranged a series of other marriages between the black nobility and the English aristocracy. His younger brother, Boniface, was even made Archbishop of Canterbury. The black nobility have been controlling the Church of England for centuries from the start, and today one of the most active representatives, Queen Elizabeth II, is still the official head of the church. The black nobility bloodlines are, according to this guy, mixed with the Jin race or bloodline. Okay, crossbreeds. Now remember, they keep it in the family. Okay, incest is part of their thing. Okay, they seized the reins of power in Europe to take their agenda into another stage. The founders of the European royal houses, many of which continue to this day, were Rupert, the Count of Nassau, and Christian, Count of Oldenburg. Both lived in the 11th and 12th centuries, the very period when the black nobility Babylonian Brotherhood cultus launched its plan to control the whole of Europe. From Rupert came the Hesse-Darmstadt and Hesse-Kassel lines. I will leave up there the pronunciations of these. The Dukes of Luxembourg, the Battenbergs, later Mountbattens, the Prince of Orange and Nassau, and the kings of the Netherlands. From Christian came the kings of Denmark and Norway, Schleswig and Holstein line, and the Hanovers, who became kings of England. It was from the Hanovers that the present House of Windsor is derived. Other black nobility, we call reptilian bloodlines, Jin bloodlines, right? Or the oligarchs' bloodlines, included the Dukes of Normandy, like William the Conqueror, hence their support for him, and the St. Clairs. The Saxe-Coburgs, another Windsor bloodline, and the Plantagenets, who produced the Tudor and Stuart monarchs of England. Here you see how the English aristocracy and the monarchs on the English throne have in fact been the black nobility. The Scottish nobility, the clans and the ruling aristocratic families like the St. Clairs, the Bruces, and others I have mentioned are also the black nobility in disguise. The Aryans from the ancient world. Yes, they do fight amongst themselves for power, and many of them will not be aware of who they are and what is controlling them, but they are the same bloodline and invariably find themselves in the positions of royal, religious, and political power. And we can go on and on and on. In fact, I'm going to add a few more things for you guys in here and what else he has mentioned in this book. Many of today's most famous financial and business families are members of the black nobility lines of the Babylonian Brotherhood. The Warburg banking dynasty is in fact of the Abraham del Banco family, the biggest banking family in Venice, when the city was at the height of its powers and influence. The Agnelli family, famous for the car giant Fiat, and remember Fiat money, okay, is another of these black nobility bloodlines. This is why the Agnellis control Italy and dictate to its governments. Another of the most powerful black nobility families of Venice were the Medicis, and it was they who sponsored the journey of Christopher Columbus to discover the Americas. Not discover. America was already, there was already merchants going there. There was already contact with the Ottoman Empire at the time with the natives of here. In fact, the whole discovery thing is a lie. Christopher Columbus didn't discover. Another thing about Christopher Columbus I want to share with you guys is what he did to the natives. He not only had his soldiers rape the females, but he had the natives build a statue of him and had himself worshipped by the natives, forced them to worship him, his statue. He raped and pillaged through. He was the most disgusting human being on the face of this planet. And yet you have a holiday for him. How despicable. Christopher Columbus was a terrorist. He raped, killed, and stole for these bloodlines, for these oligarchs. That's the truth behind Christopher Columbus. May he rot in hell. Let's continue on. The Medicis also sponsored the artist Leonardo da Vinci, a leading initiate of the secret society network. Da Vinci was able to predict some of the future development of technology because he knew what most of the public were not allowed to know. His famous depiction of the man within the circle was symbolic of the golden mean geometry on which the major sacred sites of the world are designed and located. The influence of the black nobility continues and expands northwards into Germany, and it is from this stream that the British royal family, the House of Windsor, originates until they changed their name in 1917. They were called the House of Saxe-Coburg, Gotha, a German royal line going back to the black nobility of Venice, Lombardy, and beyond that to Babylon. The Windsors, according to this guy, have the mixed bloodlines of jinns and humans. And if actually, I found a hadith. I don't know if this hadith is legit. I'm still continuing to research it. But according to this hadith, the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon his family, said that, have you ever heard of the Muharibun? These are people who have the DNA, the blood strain of demons, jinns. Keep that in mind. When the black nobility expanded into Germany, the Del Banco family of Venice became known as the Warburgs. Although they claim to be Jewish, the Warburgs are in fact part of this Zionist Babylonian agenda, okay, or bloodlines and stuff. And this explains why they became bankers to, guess who? Adolf Hitler, okay? And other Aryan families like the Rothschilds claim to be Jewish while funding and supporting people like Hitler. He claims in 1998, while speaking on a tour in South Africa, he was invited to have a private meeting with P.W. Botha, the president of South Africa during the 1980s, who wished to give him information about who controls that country. He told the author that during his presidency, he was asked to host a delegation of the English Rothschilds in Cape Town. At that meeting, they told him that money which once belonged to German Jews was sitting in Swiss bank accounts, and it was available for investment in South Africa if they could agree on an interest rate. Botha, if I'm mispronouncing it, forgive me, said he was outraged and refused to play. But this was the money that has been recently located in Swiss banks and was stolen from the Jews who suffered under Hitler. The Rothschilds have been lending it and making money from it since the war. Okay. And according to this author, he says that is what the Rothschilds think of Jewish people, and yet to expose the Rothschilds is to be branded anti-Semitic by both Jewish people who have no idea how they are being manipulated, and by the self-righteous, self-indulgent, robot radicals, Zionists, or known as the political left, according to this guy. The Rothschilds were formerly known as the Bauers, one of the most famous occult families of the Middle Ages in Germany. And they originate not from Israel, but the Caucasus Mountains. According to them, he says they are shape-shifting, okay, that hide behind human form. Now remember, when God talks about devils and Satans, he also mentions that humans become Satans too. And if you really look at it, in some of my past videos, I've shown you videos of George W. Bush Sr. and how he's doing an interview and his eyes change. And this is a time before AI and all that stuff. And I've seen that in a lot of politicians and celebrities. Keep that in mind. So, the elite brotherhood families change their names from time to time to ensure that people won't realize that the same bloodlines holding positions of power weave their way through history. Now here we're going to get into the good stuff here. The black nobility, the oligarchs, made its center for a time in Amsterdam. Again, many of them claimed to be Jews, but they were not. They were actually the Aryan bloodlines, which had journeyed through there by various routes. Some originated from the Venetians, and some were Khazar Aryans from the Caucasus Mountains, where their ancestors had mass converted to Judaism in the 8th century. Well, peace and blessings. Send your prayer out to people of Palestine, Yemen, people of Gur, Afghanistan, the innocent Muslims that are being massacred in India, South America, and all the oppressed peoples and nations of the world. I'll send out my prayers to you. Folks watching this, go ahead and send out your prayers to you. Prayer is a powerful thing. And real men pray. Real men pray. I kept it real. Have you?